Wow, this is awesome. Now that I know how to use the Zoom product thanks to GoEngineer, I feel all fancy schmancy, which is why I'm wearing my fedora. But I tend to forget that I have a Zoom meeting. I wish there was a way that I could put this on my calendar automatically. Welcome back to our fourth installment of How to Zoom with GoEngineer. My name is James Ortiz, and I have been using SOLIDWORKS since 1997, and I've been a SOLIDWORKS instructor in the Great Lakes region for well over 20 years now. In our first episode of How to Zoom, we talked about how to download the product, how to install it, how to register it, but we also mentioned a plugin for Outlook. Today's episode, we're going to discuss how to take that plugin, how to install it, so this way I can take my meetings and have them automatically get plugged into my Outlook calendar. So this way I can constantly be reminded that I have a meeting coming up. So let's take a look at that one. Just as a quick reminder, you're going to have to download the plugin for Outlook. If you haven't done so yet, open up your web browser and simply go to www.zoom.us, accept that, and then you're going to go to your resources in the upper right hand corner of your screen, and you're going to go to Download Zoom Client. This is where we went to download the client originally, and we also have our plugin. You'll also notice that we have other plugins for other calendars that you might use instead of Outlook. The installation is pretty much the same thing. So we're going to go to our Outlook plugin, we're going to select the download, and we're going to say Save As. In this case, I'm going to save it to my Downloads page. I'm going to cancel that out because I already have it downloaded. Since I already downloaded the plugin for Outlook, I'm going to open up my Windows Explorer, and I'm also going to go over to my Downloads page. Here, I'm going to look for the Zoom plugin for Outlook, and we're just simply going to double click on it. This is going to open up the MSI file. Inside, I simply say Next, then I do a series of Next, 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 and I just continue on, let it install, and I'm done. So adding the plugin to Outlook was just that easy. Now that the plugin is installed into Outlook, let's go in and see how this thing works. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our Outlook, and then we're going to take our cursor and we're going to go over to our calendar down in the lower left corner of the tool. Let's say that on May 19th, somebody wants me to attend a meeting with GoEngineer. So let's focus in on that date. Notice how it's currently empty. Oh, you see how I just got that gray notice? That means I have a tentative meeting. So let's go back into our email. So here you're going to notice that Darren Grosser invited me to a meeting. When I pick on it, it's going to open up the email. It's going to show me the calendar for that day, and it's going to give me the meeting information. If I go back over to my calendar, you're going to notice it's still grayed out. And now when I go back to look at Darren's email, you're going to notice that I can accept, make it tentative, or decline. I'm going to hit accept. I'm going to say send the response now. This lets him know that I am going to be in the meeting. And you'll notice that when I go back to my calendar, it is now highlighted blue, which means I now have something specifically for that day. How about setting up a meeting through Outlook? So let's go back into our calendar, and let's say I want to meet with Darren again on the 20th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the date of the 20th, and you're going to notice at the top we have our schedule a Zoom meeting. I'm going to say schedule a meeting. By selecting this, it's going to open up a brand new email, and it's also going to open up the Zoom plugin. And here I can set up if the meeting requires a password or not. And I can also say how the attendees are going to use their audio and their video equipment. Let's just come over and say continue. Then I'm going to change the title for the meeting so everybody knows what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to invite those that I need. Now we set the start time and the finish time for the meeting. And then in the email, you're going to notice that we have the links, we have the meeting ID information, and we have phone numbers if you need to call using your cell phone. Let's hit the send button. And you'll now see that I have the meeting on the 20th in blue. What if we have to meet now? Well, once again, I can do this through the Zoom client install that we did earlier, or I can also do this through Outlook. So you're going to notice at the top of our screen, we have our Start Meeting Now button. So we can start with the video or just start without the video. We're going to say start without video. This is going to open up the client, I simply say join the audio. I can invite others. I can do this through Zoom, or I can do this through my email. We're going to go through my default email client. It's going to open up another email, and I just invite the people I want. I put into the subject the title of the meeting, and I simply hit the send button. The meeting is now started. At this point, this is a normal Zoom meeting where I can do everything that you can that we showed you in our third lesson. Here I'm just going to simply say end the meeting to close out. And with that, you can now send and accept Zoom meetings through your Outlook calendar. In our last video, we're going to talk about a checklist of things that you want to make sure that you have in place before you go to your next training with GoEngineer. And I'll see you then. You have a great day.